Okay, why BIOFA? Why should you be your own financial advisor? We're going to get into that today. We're going to discover a few things. I'm going to talk about the value of sitting down with a financial advisor. I am going to talk about how you pay for the services of a financial advisor. I'm going to talk about what you pay for the services of a financial advisor. I'm going to talk about why you pay so much. We're going to get into, are you getting value that is commensurate with the cost? Okay, I'm going to start with an analogy. I recently had my roof reshingled. I paid $5,000 to stop the rain from entering my house. I feel I got value for my money. Somebody came, it took them a day, there was a team of them, they went on my roof, they risked injury, they did, I think, a good job. They ripped off the old shingles and put new ones on, they cleaned up, and they left. I paid them $5,000. Did I get value for my money? Probably. At $5,000, I had no interest to go up there and do it myself. Now, what if the price was $100,000? I would have figured out how to do it by myself. At $100,000, if they do the same job, I'm not getting value for my money. At $5,000, I likely am getting value. So, when you sit down with a financial advisor, are you getting value for your money? Now, before you can answer that question, you have to understand what you pay. And before you understand what you pay, you have to understand how you pay. Because you will never see a charge come through your bank account. You will never be asked to write a check to pay for the services. And you'll never see a charge on your Visa bill. So how do you pay? You pay through the product. And the cost of paying through the product reduces your return. Let me show you how this is done. Here is the TD Managed Balanced Growth Portfolio. So I'm going to use this fund as an example. All funds work this way. Exchange traded funds work this way. Every type of pooled product works this way. So just want to show you this. There is $5 billion worth of investors' money invested in this fund. Here's the number you need to know about. MER. MER stands for Management Expense Ratio, and that is a fancy word for cost. So the cost to be invested in this product is 2.19%. Now, where does this 2.19% go? TD keeps some. They send some to the financial advisor's firm. The financial advisor's firm splits that money with the financial advisor. And then there are some other cost centers as well. I'll get into that in a second. So that is how everybody is paid. Money is extracted from the fund. In the case of this fund, it's 2.19% of the value of the fund, and then it's distributed to the 5 cost centers. How do you pay this? Because again, you never see a charge, you never have to write a check. Here is how you pay. Now let's pretend it's 2.19%. Just to make the math easier, let's pretend that's 2%. So in 2018, if you were invested in this fund, your money fell by 3.64%. So it was a bad year. Your money went down. Now, if cost was zero, if the MER was zero, and pretending it's 2%, not 2.19, if cost was zero, your performance in 2018 would have been not negative 3.64, but negative 1.64. So cost of 2 percentage points boosted your negative return from negative 1.64 to negative 3.64. So it made your return worse. Here's a positive year. If you were invested in this fund in 2017, your money grew by 6.99%. If cost was zero, it would have grown by 8.99%. In 2016, 2.41. If cost was zero, 4.41. In 2013, 16.46. Very good year. If cost was zero, it would have been 18.46. Again, another negative year. 2.75, negative 2.75. If cost was zero, it would have been 0.75, negative 0.75. So 2.75 negative return, it would have been negative 0.75 if cost was zero. Now here is average annual growth rates. If you entered into this fund on May 31st, 2009 and held to May 31st, 2019, your money would have grown by an average annual rate of return of 6.79. If cost was zero, and pretending cost is not 2.19 but 2%, just to make the math easier, your average annual rate of return would have been 8.79. Now, 2% of anything sounds small. This is not so in the case of the financial services industry. 2 full percentage points are being taken from a return that is already small. Let's say the return is 10 and they're taking 2%. Well, they're taking 20% of your return away. Instead of 10, you're getting 8. They're taking 20% of your return away. So the financial services industry feasts on the notion that, hey, it's a 2% cost. 2% of anything sounds small. It's not the case when it comes to investing, because the return number is typically small. To highlight this, imagine a 2% cost, a 2 percentage point cost on a 2% paying GIC. Cost removes 100% of the return. So that is how you pay. The cost results in a reduced return. Now, why is the cost high? There are 5 cost centers in your portfolio. There's the financial advisor. They're doing work. Their work is valuable. They deserve to be paid. There's the firm that hires the financial advisor. If you are a financial advisor, you have to be hired by a firm that is licensed. The financial advisor's firm licenses the financial advisor. They perform compliance on the financial advisor. They make sure that the financial advisor is placing clients into appropriate products and doing appropriate financial planning. They make sure that the financial advisor is up to date with their educational requirements and things of that nature. A lot of this work is foisted upon them by the regulators. Okay, so we have the financial advisor, we have the financial advisor's firm, we have the asset management company. Think of the mutual fund company. They do work. There's a big question of whether the work they do is providing value. That's the whole active versus passive management debate, and I'll get into that in the future. Then there is the government in the form of HST, PST, GST, and the hidden cost of regulation, the cost of foisting tasks onto the asset manager, the financial advisor, and the financial advisor's firm. And then there is the others. These are the smaller costs, and typically associated with the asset manager. The asset manager has to hire auditors to audit the funds. The asset manager has to, they have legal costs, they have compliance costs, they have statement costs, they have prospectus costs. All these things add up to, in the case of this fund, 2.19%. So that's why it's expensive. There are many hands in the pie of your savings. Okay, so what is the effect of this cost? Here we have a $10,000 one-time lump sum investment. Here we have the years, and here we have rates of return. So let's look at 7%. So 7%, $10,000 growing at 7% over 10 years grows to $19,672. Over 40 years, it grows to $149,745. Now, 40 years might sound ridiculous, but think of somebody who lives to 95. That means they invested that money at the age of 55. Somebody 25 living to 95 has a 70-year time horizon. Okay, now let's look at the effect of cost on the long term. So, 7% pre-cost return. Let's say cost is 2%. That removes 2 percentage points off of 7%. That means the after-cost return is 5%. At 7%, the one-time $10,000 lump sum investment invested for 40 years grows to $149,000 at 7%. It grows to $70,000 at 5%. A 2 percentage point cost factor reduced the size of the investment after 40 years by more than half. Now here is $10,000 contributions per year. At 7%, $10,000 contributed per year for 40 years grows to almost $2 million. At 5%, it grows to $1.2 million. That's an $800,000 difference. That is the cost of hiring a financial advisor. Now, all the cost centers are providing work. Some are providing a lot of value. I would say the financial advisor, if they're skilled at their profession, they are providing value. However, some aren't. I don't think the asset manager is providing much value. And I'll get into that in future videos. But anyway, regardless of the amount of value they're providing, is the value commensurate with the cost? If you could spend a couple hours learning to do this yourself, the rewards are enormous. And the good news is there is product out there, low cost, broad market, passively managed ETFs that eliminate any need for investment expertise. So again, back to the roofing analogy. At $100,000, I learn to do it myself. Well, at $800,000, I would consider learning to do it yourself when it comes to hiring a financial advisor. Is the value commensurate with the cost? Only you can answer that. I think it's very difficult to answer yes to that question. Thank you for watching.